Okay, everybody, I apologize first of all if you can't really read the text on there. It may be a little blurry. I'll probably take a picture and put it on DeviantArt so you can actually see the title. But the title in the middle, I want you to kind of pay a little attention to. First of all, if you can read this, you might see that it says Bonkers DVD made on January 29th, 2009. Now, on January 27th, I did a review on the episode title in the middle, which is New Partners on the Block. Unfortunately, because at the time I still only had, along with a lot of other viewers or users, a lot of other users on YouTube and all that, due to the fact that myself and a lot of those viewers out there viewers and users still had the 10-minute time limit. I could only do it in two 8-minute parts, so one 8-minute part and one 7-minute part, or something like that. Well, I was reviewing the episode itself. Now, I recently did a video where I kind of looked at the highlights of the episode and what made it one of the most talked about episodes there is in recent memory, and one of the rarest episodes. And the reason I say one of the rarest episodes is because it had not been seen for nearly 15 years. About 16 to 15 years it had not been seen on television, and here's the reason why. I believe it's for multiple reasons. One, 2 years after it made its debut in '93, and continued going on even through '94. When 1995 hit, everybody knows of the one event in '95 which kind of changed a lot of things when it came to not just television but a whole lot of other stuff. Excuse me. And that was the Oklahoma City bombings. That's right. The Oklahoma City bombings in 1995 changed the outlook of a lot of things. And Disney, being the leader at the time in family entertainment, whether it was movies or television shows, knew that they had to do something so they wouldn't be associated with that kind of stuff, and also to please the FCC. So what did they do to please the FCC? One of the obvious things is they took a look at a lot of their episodes that dealt with characters or villains. When it came to the animated programs, mostly that dealt with villains and characters being portrayed as terrorists or bombers. Now, what did they do in response to that? They took those episodes with those villains that were being portrayed as terrorists and bombers, and they took them off the air. And the same could be said for this very episode right here. You see, the villain in the episode New Partners on the Block was portrayed as a terrorist/bomber. Now, like I said, the episode did run as part of the continuity and everything, as part of the chronological order, if you will, of episodes from '93 up until '95. How do I remember this? Because here's what I did. You see, when I saw New Partners on the Block for the first time in '93, I didn't even know what it was, quite honestly. I didn't know, not that I didn't know what it was, I was just surprised at the fact that it had the same kind of style of animation that the pilot had. And what really surprised me, though, and kind of told me that it was a special episode was when you started having Bonkers more associated with another cop character, Miranda, as well as you saw his friends that you only saw once in the Lucky Pickell episodes, and those being Fawn, Jitters, and Grumbles. I mean, the last time you saw them on screen, full, kind of like as a part of the Lucky episodes, was in the pilot. That was it. Yeah, some people will say, well, they showed up in Tune with No Name. Yeah, they showed up in Tune with No Name, but that was a flashback. And also, you might say, well, there's 2 episodes where Fawn makes a cameo. The episode about the color, about the Toons that want color, as well as the episode with the wolf that kidnaps Toons and puts them in these, puts them in these sheep novelty things, or kidnaps Toons and disguises them as novelty sheep, if you will. You might say that she appeared in those 2. Yes, she did. She did appear in those 2, but here's the thing. Those are only cameos and flashbacks. This was the first time full on that they were a part of an episode. And obviously, because this was a special episode, it gave them more screen time and more speaking time. So that's how you also knew that this was sort of a different episode than all the others you had seen before. Now anyway, getting back into what this episode is about. You see, last year when I did this, I kind of explained what it was, and then I explained what it was and how good the episode was, and then recently in December last month, Mars Girl on ThatGuyWithTheGlasses.com, as well as here on YouTube, did a month-long tribute or a month-long series on Disney Toons, on Disney Toon Studios. Excuse me. And one of the shows that she mentioned in one of her parts, I think it was part 3, I believe, was Bonkers. She mentioned it in part 3. Now, the one thing Miranda kind of the one thing Mars Girl mistakenly said, and I don't mean to correct her or anything, because I'm one of her best, I love her work, I'm one of her fans, one of her watchers, you know, I like the work she does, but one of the things Mars Girl made a mistake on was, she mentioned that when Bonkers got aired on the Disney Afternoon, they showed the Miranda episodes first, then the Bonker episodes. Then the ones with Lucky, I should say. That's not true. You see, Miranda didn't come first on the Disney Afternoon. Lucky did. You see, the only time Miranda came first was in the spring and summer on the Disney Channel, when Disney Channel, still at that time, would give spring and summer sneak peeks of all the shows, of all the animated shows that were heading either to Saturday mornings or to the Disney Afternoon. And since I guess the Lucky episodes weren't ready yet for a sneak peek, they had to showcase the Miranda ones, which was okay because it gave people a taste of what was to come. However, here's a little tidbit not many people know. And I'm sure Mars Girl doesn't know about this. I mentioned this in my review last year, but here's the situation, here's the deal. Bonkers was originally supposed to be teamed up with Miranda. Excuse me. That's right. Bonkers was originally supposed to be teamed up with Miranda. Here's the lowdown. We all know that in syndicated shows, syndicated animated shows, The limit for them, because they're 5 days a week, is 60 to 65 episodes, right? 60 to 65 episodes. That also depends, though, if you're breaking them off into seasons. Then it's maybe 30 to 35 episodes at the limit, or 25 to 30 episodes as the limit if you're breaking it off into seasons. But since Bonkers was like straight through, it was one of those animated shows that was like I said, it was just straight through. 65 episodes were required, or 64 to 65 episodes were required. Now, again, like I said, Bonkers originally was supposed to be teamed up with Miranda Wright. However, only 19 only 19 Miranda episodes of Bonkers were created. What happened is Dwayne Capizza, and you might recognize the name from a lot of the superhero shows that he had done later on, like Superman and Batman and all that. Basically what happened is, like I said, 19 episodes were made, but the other episodes, the 43 other episodes, or the 42 other episodes, I can't remember, what was it? We had 4 package episodes, I know that, 4 variety episodes. So that would count with the 19 as 23. So 40 other episodes, 41 other episodes I should say, or 42, actually 42 other episodes, 41 to 42 other episodes of Miranda with Bonkers. Those 42 other episodes didn't make it. That's right. Like I said, Bonkers was originally planned to be teamed up with Miranda from the start. But because only 19 of the Miranda episodes survived, and the rest of them were put away, thrown away, put in the vault, if you will, well, Bonkers ended up being teamed up with Lucky Pickell. Now let me explain what happened. Again, like I said, 19 episodes were made and have aired. We have seen that. But only 40, but they are outmatched by the fact that there are 42 episodes of Bonkers with Lucky in them. And here's why. Here's why. According to some sources that I read, the other Miranda episodes that were originally supposed to be a part of the Bonkers series, the rest of the Miranda episodes came back disastrously from overseas. The animation, I guess, wasn't well done. The stories weren't, didn't meet criteria or what the people wanted. So combined with the fact that they said the animation came off disastrous and the writing wasn't, I guess, wasn't the best for the rest of these episodes, or weren't that good for the rest of these episodes, those episodes were put on the shelf. Dwayne Capizza, like I said, you might recognize from being a writer and all that for Batman and Superman and such. Dwayne Capizza was taken off the staff, and Larry Lantham, if I'm correct, was brought in. And Larry Lantham took the other 42 episodes that was required and sort of did an overhaul, if you will. Instead of continuing on with Miranda as his partner, excuse me for a second, that's my watch going off. But instead of continuing with Miranda as Bonkers' partner, like I said, he did a complete overhaul and instead decided to go in the direction that was originally intended for the series. You see, the series in general was supposed to be a Roger Rabbit spin-off, but due to the fact that Steven Spielberg, Robert Zemeckis, and Touchstone overall, if you will, owned the rights to, well, basically Spielberg and Zemeckis and whoever else owned the rights to Roger Rabbit, they couldn't do it. So instead, Larry Lantham, knowing that that's what they wanted to go with, decided to go in sort of that direction. Here's what he did. Like I said, he reworked the origin story. That's not the origin story, but he reworked the series to include an origin story. That's right. The origin story was the two-parter Going Bonkers, or as it's known separately, Going Bonkers and Gone Bonkers. But basically, that is what he wanted to focus. That's how he revamped and overhauled the whole series. He wanted to focus on an origin story that kind of explained to people how Bonkers became a cop. So what did he do? He used what Dwayne Capizza had done. He used the raw tunage background, the cartoons we see in raw tunage, as Bonkers' time before he became a cop. Because in the very first episode, Going Bonkers, one of the cartoons that Bonkers and his friends are working on is the theatrical short Pedal to the Metal. That's right, Pedal to the Metal, which has also been seen on raw tunage. Excuse me. As well as part of the variety packs in the Bonkers series. Larry Lantham used part of that to be included in the pilot to kind of show you again how Bonkers went from being a Hollywood tune star to a cop. So that's what happens. That's what that's the direction he went with. And for 41 and for the rest of the 41 episodes with Lucky, that's the direction he went with. Like I said, I'm sorry if I repeated myself, but from that episode, from that pilot, from that origin story, if you will, this two-part origin story, he went from that, and for the rest of the 41 to 40 episodes, that's the direction he went in. But apparently Larry Lantham knew fans were always going to wonder, how did Bonkers go from having Lucky to having Miranda? Because you just can't have one Lucky episode show up, and then all of a sudden, in the next episode, here's Bonkers with a new design, or a design similar to his raw tunage days, and all of a sudden he's teamed up with a female cop. You can't do that without answering the question of how it happened. And Larry Lantham, give him credit, understood this. He understood this problem. So what did he do? He basically, I'm guessing he may have gotten in contact with Dwayne Capizza and Greg Weismer. Greg Weismer, who you might know from Gargoyles fame, might have gotten in contact with them and decided on something like, you know, we gotta bridge a gap. So he might have worked with them, or might have gotten some ideas from them of how to bridge that gap. So how do they bridge the gap? With this episode, New Partners on the Block. And basically, here's the premise of this episode. Like I said, the villain in here is a bomber/terrorist named Fireball Frank. Now he's basically been sending threats, bomb threats to the city, unless he gets a huge amount of money. He's going to bomb the city. So he's basically been sending these bomb threats. That's to the city, saying that he will destroy the city unless he gets a huge amount of money. Now, Lucky, of course, looked at this as not just one of the biggest cases that the police station has ever had, but it's one of the biggest cases he could have. Because he believes, and he feels in his heart, that this would be the case that finally gets him out of that Toon Division, gets him away from Bonkers, and into a more important role in the police force. Well, Bonkers, of course, sort of understands this. He sort of understands this. Maybe not really. You see, Bonkers at first thinks Lucky doesn't want him to get hurt. So in a way, like I said, he sort of understands this is the reason why Lucky wants to do this case on his own. But he doesn't want it to do him on its own until he kind of gives him some information. But only if Lucky helps him. So in a way, he understands Lucky wants to do this on his own, but he also knows that Lucky's going to need his help. Or he believes Lucky's going to need his help on this case, whether Lucky wants it or not. So after giving Lucky this information, and I guess finally tagging along with him in following Fireball Frank to this warehouse, Bonkers wants to go in with Lucky, but Lucky kind of gives him that look like, do you really want to go in, or do you really want to not be here anymore? Because Bonkers basically says, hey, you're going to go in over my dead body, and Lucky gives him that look like that could be arranged. So Bonkers stays behind, Lucky goes in, and just as he goes in, he tells himself that this is the opportunity he's been waiting for, his ticket to the top. And as soon as he goes in, he steps over a wire, and the whole warehouse ignites. Now, that makes the viewers, along with Bonkers, think that Lucky is dead. And you probably think to yourself, wow, what a way to go. What a way to go, right? But that is not the case. Now, even though Bonkers is heartbroken and everything, who is there to comfort him? None other than Miranda. Now, you might say, why is Miranda the first one to comfort him? What's going on there? Well, you might have noticed that there might have been a hint, the fact that Miranda was sort of, I guess, the chief's secretary or something like that, a police officer as well as his secretary. I can't remember what episode it was in the Lucky Paquel episodes, but she was seen as a secretary, I believe. Anyway, she's there to comfort him. And she's there, and she kind of stands by him almost throughout the entire episode, you know, making sure he's okay and everything. She's even there when Bonkers invites his friends, not just Fall Apart, who we've seen a majority of those Lucky episodes, but Fondier, Jersey Dog, and Grumbles Grizzly, invites them all, along with Miranda, to this little memorial service, a little memorial service picnic, if you will, in Lucky's honor. Now again, this is the one scene that I believe showed. Now this is the one scene in the episode that I liked because it gave these characters more speaking and screen time in this episode than they had in the pilot. Because the first one to speak up is Fondier. Now, she's the first one to speak up. Then, after Fall Apart responds to her, Jitter speaks up. And then, after Fall Apart responds to him, Grumble speaks up. But that's not the last time we hear them, no. Because after Bonkers and his friends accidentally discover a police message, or a coded message, if you will, from Lucky on the can, they go to all the cans that Fall Apart brought to the dinner, and they look through them, and they're all speaking. Fawn's speaking, Jitters is speaking, Grumbles is speaking, and again, this just shows me they have more screen time and speaking time than they did in the pilot, which was a good sign to me. That, hey, they might have more later on. That wasn't the case, though. Jitters had some speaking time. Jitters, he had more speaking time and screen time than the others, because Jitters sort of became like the Fall Apart of the Miranda episodes. But anyway, after they figure out that Lucky is, after they come to realize that, hey, Lucky's still alive, they go on a search for him. And the search leads them to the observatory, where they finally find Lucky, rescue him and the FBI agent that's been captured, because that's one of the plot points. One of the capitals, one of the Washington D.C. FBI agents has been, captured. I guess that's what it is. And after rescuing Lucky and the agent, after rescuing them, basically what happens overall, trying to make this quick, after rescuing Lucky and the FBI agent, they help Lucky, Bonkers and Miranda, and the agent, I guess, along with Lucky, all together, finally defeat and bring down the villain. Now at first, Sergeant Grady, when he arrives with backup, he's kind of impressed, like, whoa, you the Toon did this? But Bonkers, being who he is, admits, no, it wasn't me, it was Miranda, no, it was Lucky. But basically, Bonkers admits there was kind of like a 50-50 deal with both Miranda and Lucky. Basically, Bonkers says at the end, after they capture the villain, that it's kind of split down the middle, and credit should go, and the credit for capturing this guy should really go to both Lucky and Miranda. So, what happens basically towards the end, and I'm sorry if this sounds like I'm giving away some spoilers, but again, if you want to watch the episode, watch it here on the YT, watch it on the DM if you want to, you will like it. But anyway, what happens, so basically the result of this overall is Bonkers and Miranda are made a team by Chief Kanifki and are assigned to Sergeant Grading, and Lucky is given an opportunity, a job, is basically given an opportunity to be with the FBI. Basically, the FBI agent, in gratitude for Lucky helping him out and saving his life, offers him a position in the FBI, which Lucky eagerly takes, is happy to take, and that's about it. I mean, we get a nice farewell at the end, you know, the packing up, cleaning up the office. Then we get a nice farewell. We get some interaction between Lucky and Miranda, some talk a little bit, which I think is the only time you ever see that. We see, you know, Lucky's daughter, Lucky's family come in and saying goodbye, and, you know, that's about it. And then we're left with, you know, Sergeant Grading calling Bonkers into his office, or telling Bonkers he was supposed to be in his office 5 seconds ago. So that kind of gives you the hint of what you're going to be expecting real soon in the Miranda episodes. So, overall, the episode was pretty damn good. There's no doubt about it. And again, if you want to see it, check out the YT, check out the DM. You watch it and you will like it, I guarantee it. But let me explain again. What I mentioned there of that episode is the reason, not to correct Mars Girl, but she sort of made a mistake here, is the reason the Lucky episodes came before Miranda. It wasn't, you know, okay, here's Lucky, okay, next episode, here's Miranda. Like, what happened? Who's she? Where'd she come from? No. Basically, this episode, New Parties on the Block, gapped and bridged the gap, if you will, between both series, or both versions of the series. So, again, not to correct Mars Girl, because she's a very talented person when it comes to reviews and editorials, but the truth is, the Lucky episodes came before the Miranda ones on the Disney Afternoon. The Miranda ones came first on the Disney Channel during the sneak peek. But during the Disney Afternoon run, it was the Lucky Purcell episodes first and the Miranda episode second. And New Partners on the Block was to bridge both versions of the series, the Miranda continuity and the Lucky continuity, together to kind of explain how Bonkers went from having Lucky as his partner to having Miranda as his partner. And again, the reason that writer Larry Lantham, and I guess possibly with the help of Dwayne Capizza and Greg Weismer, the reason he made this episode is because he knew fans would probably ask questions if there wasn't really an explanation as to why Bonkers went from having Lucky as a partner, and then in the next episode he has this Miranda Wright as a partner. So again, basically what he did, he decided to do, again, like I said, I guess along with the help of Greg Weismer and Dwayne Capizza, was bridge the episodes, bridge both continuities together in one episode to explain how it happened. So, that, again, not to correct Mars Girl, because she did a great job in this whole Disney Tunes thing throughout December, that is why the Lucky episodes came first on Disney Afternoon, and the Miranda episodes came secondly, and why Bonkers went from having Lucky as a partner to Miranda, because of this one episode. And that's the truth. That's the absolute truth. I know some people find that hard to believe, And I know some people who probably haven't even seen the episode that have tuned into the DM, to the YT, and other video related sites. You know, they watch it and they're like, wow, I didn't even know this was around. Well, guess what? It is. The only reason it hasn't been shown in years, the only reason is because of what happened in Oklahoma City in '95, and then later on what happened almost 10 years ago now in 2001. Those are the reasons. So overall, it's a great episode. Again, if you've never seen it, check it out on the YT. It's in multiple parts. Check it on any video related sites to YT, and you will enjoy it. So that's all I'm going to say about it. I give it a 10 out of 10, and I thank you all for watching my updated, revamped, I guess you could say 30+ minute review of New Partners on the Block from Disney's Bonkers. So, and I'm sorry if I kind of didn't make sense at times, or I went a little longer than I should on some subjects in this review. But again, I thank you all for watching. 10 out of 10 on this episode. You gotta see it. It's really well done. And that's about it. I'm out. Have a good Sunday. Peace.